Oh man, the sun's so good.
It's so great.
Like, how can we go 2 weeks down in Europe and have cloud 90% of the time, and then the last 2 days that we arrive in Monaco, it's like this. Good morning, good evening, whenever you are watching this video, which is more of like a debrief. I wanted to get the gang together out on the terrace in front of the swimming pool with an awesome backdrop and just kind of talk through the road trip, because as much as I feel like I've documented and vlogged and brought you guys on the journey with me and these guys, it would be nice to just have like one last chat around what was probably the most highly anticipated road trip or the start of 2017.
You're making me sad now, man. I don't want to go home.
Oh, I don't want to go
It's
home.
weird to think that it's over now. Well, over that we've come to the end of this part of the year.
Of the year.
Yeah. January, February, March. I think we could all be honest and say that not a lot happens in the car community other than the Geneva Motor Show.
Particularly
Not really.
in the UK as well.
Particularly in the UK because the weather sucks.
Desperate. Yeah.
So there's not many cars driving around, there's no events, and there's no real reason or opportunity to really get together and create as cool a content as we're possible to create down here.
No chance.
Yeah, and Top Max is kind of like the sign of, okay, it's the beginning of sort of the car event starting, and also the beginning of summer almost.
Yeah.
So it's
with
when
weather
it
like
starts
this.
becoming
It does
warm.
kickstart the whole season. Really.
It does.
It really does.
And I will get on to the question of what is next, what content is coming next from your respective channels. But I think let's start with what has been your best moment in general over the last 2.5 weeks, which is probably a really difficult question to answer.
That is over those
Hard
2
to come up
weeks.
with.
Yeah, from the 16th of April when we set off
Crikey.
in London, and you had just collected the Batmobile in Geneva, so we kind of did start the journey
I
together,
forgot about this.
even though it wasn't in the same place.
It's hard to come up with one. Two I can think of just off the top of my head. Leaving the hotel in Lake Annecy,
That's one of mine.
because it was the
when it
moment where I
started,
realized, here we go.
Yeah.
We're all together.
Yeah, we're all together.
We've got the long slog out the way.
Yeah, the boring
Just seen
stuff.
all the cars. I hadn't seen any of the cars in their spec.
Well, it's the
So I
first
hadn't
time
seen
we've had
both of
all
your
our cars
cars.
together
Yeah.
in one place.
Yeah.
You know.
I was driving the Bat, which I was excited about.
Yeah.
Second one is coming off the ferry in Sardinia.
That's my number
Yeah.
2 as well.
Yeah,
My number 2.
those were
Which
my
speaks
two.
volumes about how
Bang
awesome
on.
both of those were.
Bang on.
Yeah.
I was going to say my first moment, and I suppose you've nailed it even better from Lake Annecy, was weirdly waking up at 4 a.m.
Yeah?
with my alarm going off in England,
Oh yeah.
knowing that it's happening.
Yeah,
Knowing
yeah,
that
yeah.
So
everything that
exciting.
This
knowing
is
that
it,
everything
yeah.
that we've built up for is
It's
happening
happening.
now.
It's worth getting up for.
And exactly, and we arrived at the Eurotunnel, the cars, the cameras were out.
First visit to Tip Top.
Yep.
So that first evening when we arrive in
It's
Monaco,
tradition.
it's like, okay, it's happening now, and we're talking and planning
We're at
about
Tip
future
Top.
content over the next few weeks. That dog's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
If you can hear that dog.
What is your best moment that doesn't involve cars?
I love the buzz in town. I could walk
Tip-top
around
chats are always good fun.
Monaco on
Tip-top
foot, just
chats.
just taking it all in,
Yeah.
looking at everyone else's cars, and
See, mine would be the arrival of being on the driveway here,
that's it.
because it feels like, one, it feels like it's my second home,
Yeah.
and two, it's just sort of it's almost like the pre-buzz of going into town.
I'm going into town. I know exactly
It's
what you
almost
mean.
better than the actual
It's
buzz.
funny how
Yeah.
the like little things are
I
so
know.
exciting and important.
And I did that 3 times this trip.
Oh, it's wicked.
I arrived once,
Yeah.
went to Italy, arrived again, and then we did our road trip and arrived
Came
again.
back
You
again.
knew that buzz was so good.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
knew you were gonna make the most of it.
Yeah. If we go from the best non-car moment, what's the worst non-car moment from the road trip? What's that moment
non-car
where
moment.
either you were like, I think we've gone too far, guys. I think like we pushed ourselves too much, because I think the worst non-car moment, and it's not necessarily the worst, but the worst that I felt was actually waking up the morning of our 720S drive
Oh yeah, I
at
could
6
tell.
a.m.
I could tell you were grogged out.
and I was probably running off about 5 hours sleep in over 48 hours.
Yeah, you were not in a good way there.
You were grumpy. I was
You
in
were
the
like,
car with you, and you were
just
just
calm
not
your ass with
happy.
this.
I would have much preferred, at the time,
Yeah.
I would have preferred to have stopped my alarm and gone back to sleep and sacrificed my morning with a 720S,
Wow.
which that shows just how bad I was.
Yeah.
Tom Marks might hate me for saying this, but walking into the show was a bit of an anticlimax because I think
this
it
is
was as
something
good as it was.
that we could potentially slightly touch upon, is that we talk about Top Marks as the entire expanse of a 7-day to 10-day period. But we're not necessarily talking about the show, which is the Top Marks Monaco. We're talking about
around it.
what happens around
what
Top
happens
Marks.
around it, the atmosphere, the people, and the
Yeah.
cars that are driving around in Monaco, the drives out
yeah.
of Monaco up into the hills.
Those
That's
are
exactly
that's
it.
the best.
That's
The
it.
best.
That's
is the
actually
drive
one
out.
of the best moments of the trip. I'd forgotten about
Going
that.
to Red Rock.
Red Rock with
That
all the
was
cars,
pretty
which
epic.
unfortunately
Yeah.
you only
Oh,
just
yeah.
missed. Yeah, but that was
I think out
Yeah, it was
of my trip to Italy with my girlfriend, the drive to Red Rock was what I really truly felt like I missed out on.
Yeah.
As well as going into Monaco and old school car spotting, because I Alex did that
Yeah.
for the Italian vlog.
Yeah.
So if I could, I suppose, rewind, it would have been nice to have had at least the Saturday in town just to car spot. Not
Yeah.
necessarily from a video creation point of view, but
just
Just
where
to
I
go
get
back
my,
to roots.
get my kick.
Back to your roots.
Yeah. Okay, so Top Marks being the start of what we call our year, and looking at what I've got coming up, probably through until December now, there's a lot of time spent in California, a lot of time spent in Dubai, a lot of time spent back down here, which is nice.
Yeah.
And in and amongst all of that, there are road trips, challenges, and things like that. What is next for both of your channels that these guys can look forward to?
I guess the biggest thing for my channel is the new car. I've got a McLaren 720S coming, which is quite ridiculous.
That is exciting.
To even hear those words coming out of my mouth is ridiculous. So yeah, I guess that is the biggest thing. And there's also something on the lead up to that dropping soon, because I haven't announced the spec yet.
Yeah.
But there's something to do with how the car was spec'd, which I believe has never been done before. So yeah, stay tuned for that one.
720S, not too bad.
not too shabby. I'm going to be a bunch of little travel here and there, so I'm trying to get content sort of all over Europe and then potentially stretch out to California, Dubai, like we've been speaking about. But yeah, going to Belgium and Holland end of this week, and then we all come back here for the F1, don't we?
Yeah.
So that's the next thing where we're all going to be
times.
together.
Yeah. So
Um,
I think just being together, or trying to be together as much as possible, whether it be with our car or without our car, like
Yeah.
it's not a case of we're getting together to create the content and create 4 videos for 4 different channels. Like,
yeah.
we want to try and be together as much as possible, but at
We
the same
enjoy it.
time, exactly,
Yeah.
we've got other things where we're doing things by ourselves, but coming together, there's always something so cool about it.
Yeah.
We want a YouTuber house.
We do want a
do we
YouTuber
want a
house.
YouTuber house? Up there somewhere.
That would be the dream.
Yeah, we've been talking non-stop about cars that we want to own that don't necessarily
Fit the bracket.
fit the bracket, or cars that on upgrades are massive downgrades to cars that we currently own.
Yeah.
And we're also, we'd love to get some place.
To
Spend
have
as much time
a European base.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to
Yeah.
have Clubhouse.
The YouTube Clubhouse. And I think the last final question is around the content that we have all been creating, including Sam, because not only have we had a massive build-up of excitement to this event, we've also had a huge build-up of working together to make sure that we're creating different content on all of our channels, but also a diversity across our channels. So trying to fit pranks in, as easy as they are, to try and sneak them in when people aren't looking. The challenges, the general road trip vibes, the vlogs, the cars, everything. We have been working really hard on to make sure that we're trying to give you guys as much diverse entertainment as possible. The last question that I would like to put to both of you guys and myself is there one specific moment, or have you got a couple of moments in your head where you didn't document but wish that you had created content? Because we can't have cameras running 24/7.
No.
So there are so many funny moments at dinner or in the morning, or
Mate.
just like there's so many times where you're just like, I wish we had a camera crew just following us around
Yeah,
to capture
capture
that moment.
everything. Yeah.
How many of that moments are there for you on the last 2 weeks?
I mean,
Apart from millions.
I think the tip-top dinner chats, pretty much
Are always
all of
so
them,
good.
Yeah.
would be so good to,
Yeah.
to capture
Yeah.
because it's always car-related.
Yeah.
And it's always
Would you
interesting
rather?
chat.
would you rather?
Would you rather a
hilarious.
Zonda Cinque for an hour?
Or, yeah. But
Or
apart from that, there've been two moments. I don't know if you'll have similar ones. One, I'm sorry to keep bringing up moments when you weren't here, but one was, do you remember that really loud Armitrix F12 that just suddenly,
Saturn blue one.
yeah, sat
That was-
blue and it followed us.
This is one of those moments where it just on
It was
on
just
plan,
happens
just
and
comes
goes.
out of thin air. Yeah.
And we Instagram storied it, but basically this insanely loud F12 just started following us out of nowhere and followed us all the way up the hill.
Up the top of
We
the
just
mountain, yeah.
blasted it, and I was right behind him. That was incredible.
Without doubt, one of the loudest cars I've ever heard.
Ever heard, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was one, and then the second one is getting off the ferry in Sardinia,
Yeah.
which I think we can all agree upon was an unbelievable moment.
It was the first 2 hours, and I don't think it actually made the cut from Sam's ferry Q&A.
No.
About
No,
that
no, no,
moment.
Actually, no.
No.
Because we arrived on the ferry, and as the sun was setting, the first 2 hours in the northwest of Sardinia, as we were driving to our hotel, was like driving through Jurassic Park. But the roads were there was no one on the roads. It was incredible. And I think we probably all
agree,
finished that drive in the pitch black, like,
What just happened?
What
Yeah,
just
that
happened?
was phenomenal. Yeah.
But I mean, on that note, also when we were driving to Monte Cantini,
yeah.
there was a moment where the sun was coming
Yeah.
down. And
Oh
that
my
was
God.
pretty special.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That
That's another one.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
There's a
sunset.
lot.
Yeah, and I think because I mean we always overfilm. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could probably create a movie of either bloopers, outtakes, and just stuff that
Without
didn't
doubt,
make
didn't
it
make
into
the cut. Yeah,
didn't make
for
it
sure.
to the YouTube video. So we always try and film as much as we can, and then we try and
Cut down, yeah.
cut it down into the best action-packed 15 minutes, 20 minutes, however
Yeah.
long it is. But there are still so many moments that we don't capture on camera because they're just so, as life is,
Yeah.
it just
Spontaneous
happens.
and
It just
unplanned.
Yeah.
happens. So I think that's it. I think we're going to have to shoot because otherwise we're going to miss our flight.
Yeah, I was just
I
thinking
haven't even
that.
packed yet.
You haven't packed?
We've still got to talk about the Aventador SV that we drove.
Oh yeah, Aventador SV. So with all of that and sort of at the end, this is like a debrief to our first road trip. By no means is this like the end. Like it does feel like because we're talking about the end of the
Talking
road
about
trip.
it, yeah.
This
Start
is
of
This
the
is the beginning.
Yeah.
This is the start. This is
Beginning
where
of the
everything
season.
kicks off. So
Yeah.
there's loads of stuff coming. Make sure that you click the links in the description for these guys. And I'm going to leave Sam as well because unfortunately he's not here. And yeah, what an awesome way to kick off the year.
Fantastic.
Who would have
Thought it was
predicted?
going to be so awesome.
Who would have predicted that
It was-
this is what happened in
I think it's the best
2017?
trip we've done.
Yeah.
Yeah, by
Today.
far.
Sort of absolutely
Having those cars together for the
amazing.
first time on these roads with this weather in the countries that we were.
Was unbelievable.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to top it next year somehow. We're going to have to top
We'll do it.
Yeah, we'll do
We'll do
it.
it.
We've got confidence. So, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching and supporting as always. Huge thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already for plenty more craziness to come in 2017. Sun's reflective of the water things.
Yeah.
Come back here. I will see you very soon, guys. Thank you for watching.
Ciao.
I have got minimal battery, but you need to hear this.